Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रीमद् भगवद गीता एज इट इज की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। Hare Krishna, dear devotees, welcome to today's Srimad Bhagavatam for all session. Let us recite Bhagavad Gita shlokas from the 15th chapter. We are reciting from the 15th chapter. So today also we will do verse and translation, or maybe, let's do verse and translation. Chapter 15, the Yoga of the Supreme Person, Text 1. Sri Bhagavanu Vacha Urdhvamulam Adha Shakham Ashwatham Prahuravyayam Chandamsi Yasya Parnani Yastam Veda Savedavid. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, it is said that there is an imperishable banyan tree that has its roots upward and its branches down, and whose leaves are the Vedic hymns. One who knows this tree is the knower of the Vedas. Text 2. Adhaschordvam prasritastasya shakha guna pravriddha vishaya pravala adhascha mulanyanusantatani karmanubandhini manushya loke. The branches of this tree extend upward and downward, nourished by the three modes of material nature. The twigs are the objects of the senses. This tree also has roots going down, and these are bound to the fruitive actions of human society. Text 3 and 4. Na rupamasyeha tathopalabhyate nanto na chadir na cha sampratishta ashwattamenam suvirudhamulam asanga shastrena dridhena chitva tatah padam tat parimargitavyam यस्मिन् गताना निवर्तन्ति भूयः तम एव चाद्यं पुरुषं प्रपद्ये यतः प्रवृत्तिः प्रसृता पुराणी. The real form of this tree cannot be perceived in this world. No one can understand where it ends, where it begins, or where its foundation is. But with determination, one must cut down this strongly rooted tree with the weapon of detachment. Thereafter, one must seek that place from which, having gone, one never returns, and there surrender to that Supreme Personality of Godhead, from whom everything began and from whom everything has extended since time immemorial. Text 5. Nirmana moha jita sanga dosha adhyatma nitya vinivritta kama dvandvair vimukta sukha dukkha sangyair gacchantya mudha padamavyayam tat. Those who are free from false prestige, illusion and false association, who understand the eternal, who are done with material lust, who are freed from the dualities of happiness and distress, and who, unbewildered, know how to surrender unto the Supreme Person, attain to that eternal kingdom. Text 6. Na tadbhasayate suryo na shashanko na pavakaha yad gatva na nivartante tadhama paramam mama. That supreme abode of mine is not illumined by the sun or moon, nor by fire or electricity. Those who reach it never return to this material world. Text 7. Mamaivamsho jivaloke jivabhutah sanatanaha manah shasthani indriyani prakritisthani karshati. The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind. Text 8. Shariram yad avapnoti yachapyutkramatiishvaraha grihitvaitani samyati vayurgandhani vashayat. The living entity in the material world carries his different conceptions of life from one body to another, as the air carries aromas. Thus, he takes one kind of body and again quits it to take another. Text 9. Shrodram chakshuः sparshanam cha rasanam ghranam eva cha adhishtaya manaschayam vishayanupasevate. The living entity, thus taking another gross body, obtains a certain type of ear, eye, tongue, nose, and sense of touch, which are grouped about the mind. He thus enjoys a particular set of sense objects. Text 10. उत्क्रामन्तं स्थितं वापि भुञ्जानं वा गुणान्वितं विमूढानानुपश्यन्ति पश्यन्ति ज्ञानचक्षुषः. The foolish cannot understand how a living entity can quit his body, nor can they understand what sort of body he enjoys under the spell of the modes of nature. But one whose eyes are trained in knowledge can see all this. Text 11. यतन्तो योगिनश्चैनं पश्यन्त्यात्मन्यवस्थितं यतन्तोऽप्यकृतात्मानो नैनं पश्यन्त्यचेतसः. The endeavoring transcendentalists who are situated in self-realization can see all this clearly, but those whose minds are not developed and who are not situated in self-realization cannot see what is taking place, though they may try. Text 12. Yadadityagatam tejo jagadbhasayate yachandramasi yachagnau tattejo viddhi mamakam. The splendor of the sun which dissipates the darkness of this whole world comes from me, and the splendor of the moon and the splendor of fire are also from me. Gama vishya bhutani dharayamyaham pushnami chaushadhi sarvah somo bhutva rasatmakaha. I enter into each planet, and by my energy they stay in orbit. I become the moon and thereby supply the juice of life to all vegetables. Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva Praninam Dehamashritah Pranapana Samayuktaha Chamyannam Chaturvidham. I am the fire of digestion in the bodies of all living entities, and I join with the air of life, outgoing and incoming, to digest the four kinds of foodstuff. सर्वस्य चाहं हृदि सन्निविष्टो मत्तः स्मृतिर्ज्ञानमपोहनं च वेदैश्च सर्वैरहमेव वेद्यो वेदान्तकृद्वेदविद् एव चाहम्. I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta, and I am the knower of the Vedas. Text 16. Dvavimau purushau loke ksharashchakshara evacha ksharah sarvani bhutani kutasthoksara uchyate. There are two classes of beings, the fallible and the infallible. In the material world, every living entity is fallible, and in the spiritual world, every living entity is called infallible. Text 17. Uttamaha purushastvanyaha paramatmetyudahritah yo lokatrayamavishya bibhartyavyaya ishvaraha. Besides these two, there is the greatest living personality, the Supreme Soul, the imperishable Lord Himself, who has entered the three worlds and is maintaining them. Text 18. Yasmat ksharam atitoham aksharat apichottamaha atosmi loke vedecha prathitaha purushottamaha. Because I am transcendental, beyond both the fallible and the infallible, and because I am the greatest, I am celebrated both in the world and in the Vedas as that Supreme Person. Text 19. Yo mamevam asammudho janati purushottamam sa sarvavid bhajati mam sarva bhavena bharata. Whoever knows me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead without doubting is the knower of everything. He therefore engages himself in full devotional service to me, O son of Bharata. Text 20. Iti guhyatamam shastram idam uktam maya nagha etad buddhva buddhiman syat kritakrityascha bharata. This is the most confidential part of the Vedic scriptures, O sinless one, and it is disclosed now by me. Whoever understands this will become wise, and his endeavors will know perfection. So we'll read Srimad Bhagavatam. So yesterday we recited text 1, Vyasdev's Mangalacharana. So we'll just recite one, and also, so the first set of prayers is Vyasdev's prayers. That will be the first 3 verses. We have recited one yesterday. We have just looked at the meanings. Please recite. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Janmadyasya Yatonvayaditaratash Chartheshwabhigyaswarat Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye Muhyanti Yat Surayaha Tejo Varimridam Yatha Vinimayo Yatra Trisargo Mrisha Dhamna Svena Sada Nirasta Kuhakam Satyam Param Dhimahi. O my Lord Sri Krishna, son of Vasudeva, O all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. I meditate upon Lord Sri Krishna because he is the absolute truth and the primeval cause of all causes of the creation, sustenance, and destruction of the manifested universes. He is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestations, and he is independent because there is no other cause beyond him. It is he only who first imparted the Vedic knowledge unto the heart of Brahmaji, the original living being. By him, even the great sages and demigods are placed into illusion, as one is bewildered by the illusory representations of water seen in fire or land seen on water. Only because of, well, yesterday we said water seen on land, but you can also see land on water. When you look at the ocean, at a distance it feels like land. So either way. Only because of him do the material universes, temporarily manifested by the reactions of the 3 modes of nature, appear factual, although they are unreal. I therefore meditate upon him, Lord Sri Krishna, who is eternally existent in the transcendental abode, which is forever free from the illusory representations of the material world. Nirasta kuhakam, right? I meditate upon him, for he is the absolute truth. Satyam param. Now the next verse. Dharma projita kaitavotra paramo nirmatsaranam satam vedyam vastavamatra vastu shivadam tapatrayonmulanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite Kim va parairishvaraha sadyo hridyavaruddhyatetra kritibihi shushrushubistatkshanat. Kshanat. We won't see the verse meaning today, we'll just recite. Text 3. Nigamakalpataror galitam phalam shukamukhadamritadrava samyutam pibata bhagavatam rasamalayam muhuraho rasika bhuvi bhavukaha. So these are the 3 verses from the first set of prayers. We'll keep reciting these 3 verses for a few days, maybe 1 week or so. Now let's read Srimad Bhagavatam. We're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 4, the atrocities of King Kamsa, and in that we are seeing how Kamsa is trying to pacify Vasudeva and Devaki uh, after releasing them. He released them from the bondage. They were shackled in iron chains. After releasing them, what did Kamsa say to them? First of all, he said, I am like a Rakshasa who eats his own, a man-eater Rakshasa who eats his own babies. Like that, I have killed my own sister's brothers. Like that, I have become so cruel. Sons, sorry. I've killed my own sister's sons, little newborn babies. And so then I've become so cruel. I have lost all mercy. I have tortured my own friends and relatives. I don't know where I will go after death, and I don't know what will happen to me in this life. And also, he said, I thought only human beings told lies, but I see even the divine personalities tell lies. The Akashvani said that the 8th child of my sister is going to kill me, but now I find out from Durga Devi that the person who will kill me has taken birth somewhere else. That means the Akashvani has lied, and believing the words of the Akashvani, I committed such atrocities towards my sister's children. But you are great souls, Vasudeva and Devaki. You are very fortunate because you have Durga Devi as your daughter, right? Durga Devi has appeared as your daughter, and don't feel sorry for the sons that you have lost, because we are all, after all, controlled beings. We are controlled by the controller. So, and we cannot always stay together. Even if they were not killed now, in future at some point they would be separated from you. So don't feel sorry. The eternally existing thing, Vastu, is the Atma. The bodies are temporary. Just like from clay, pots are made, and after at some point the pot will be destroyed, but the clay remains. So the pot is actually temporary. The dolls and pots, bodies, various bodies that you see, they are temporary. The eternally existing thing is the soul. So you should not lament for the bodies. Don't lament for the boys that were killed. There is no death for the soul. The soul will remain eternally. So don't feel sorry that those boys are dead. Actually, they are souls. They are living eternally. So don't lament for that. One more thing he is saying, that anyone who thinks that he is this body, because he already said the body is temporary, but in spite of that, people, because of Maya, we think we are this body. Anyone who thinks that he is this body, he becomes very happy, because now he is in this bodily consciousness. That means these are my friends. Anyone who gives pleasure to this body, who's connected to this body, that is my person. And anyone who hurts, that becomes my enemy. So then I become very happy when I'm in bodily consciousness. I become very happy when I'm united with my relatives and friends, and when they're separated from me, I become very sorry. I become very distressed. And anyone who's feeling this happiness and distress by uniting and getting separated from relatives, such a person will never get liberated. He will continue in this cycle of birth and death because of his attachment, because of his identification with the body, who thinks that he is this body. But my dear Devaki, let there be all good fortune. This is what we read yesterday, that actually whatever, the boys getting killed, that was the result of their own karma. Nobody is killing anyone, nobody is getting killed, because he already said that we are spirit souls, right? So whatever we are experiencing here, that is simply the result of our karma. So the boys, they were killed by me, that was their karma. The soul is there, but it was his karma. Because of their own karma, they had to get killed like that. I just happened to be the instrument who carried it out, right? So you please don't lament for them like that. And actually we saw how Srila Prabhupada explained that this is a fact, right? This is a fact that the soul is never so najayate mriyate va sharire kadachin najayate mriyate va kadachin nayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuyah ajo nitya shashvatoyam purano na hanyate hanyamane sharire. Like this. That means there is no birth or death for the soul. So those who were dead, the boys who were killed, they were killed because of their own karma. Actually, they are not killed because they are spirit souls. Spirit souls live eternally. So you should not lament. Whatever is happening because of our own karma. Don't lament. Like that he's saying. Next today's verse also we will see. One verse we'll read. Yavaddhatosmi hantasmi tyatmanam manyate swadrik tavat tad abhimanyagyo badhya badhakatam yat. I'll just read today. In the bodily conception of life, one remains in darkness without self-realization, thinking, I am being killed or I have killed my enemies. So already in the previous verse, Kamsa said that nobody is killing anyone and nobody is getting killed because the body is dead. Is there any meaning in killing the dead? It is already dead. Who can kill the body? And the spirit soul cannot be killed because it is eternal. So then who is getting killed? Nobody is getting killed there. So he's saying, but anyone, then why we feel that I'm getting killed? It's because of that abhinivesha or that abhimana, that I am this body coming from false ego. So why this false ego is covering me? Because I'm covered by ignorance, avidya, which is a component of Maya. So because of Maya's covering of avidya, I think that I am this body. When I come under this identification, bodily identification, then I think that somebody is killing me or I have killed my enemy and I become happy or I become distressed. In the bodily conception of life, one remains in darkness without self-realization, thinking, I am being killed or I have killed my enemies. As long as a foolish person thus considers the self to be the killer or the killed, he continues to be responsible for material obligations. Important point. As long as one considers the self to be killer or the killed. So you see why he is even thinking that he is killed or he is the killer, because of bodily identification. Actually nobody is getting killed, nobody is killing. But when he thinks I am this body, then I become the killer or I become killed. And then you also become responsible for the reaction of killing another person. So you cannot say, I will murder people because they are the spirit souls after all. So no problem. I will cut animals and I will eat. They are all spirit souls. So nothing is happening. I am not killing anyone. Why you are even eating that? Because you are thinking you are this body, you are tasting. Spirit soul is not going to eat meat. But you are killing. Right? But you are killing, that means you are under this bodily identification. One who is in this bodily identification, for him, when he kills, he also becomes responsible for killing and he will have to take the reaction. That's the point.
So Kamsa will get reaction.
Kamsa will get reaction, certainly. So, once again, in the bodily conception of life, one remains in darkness without self-realization, thinking I am being killed or I have killed my enemies. As long as a foolish person thus considers the self to be the killer or the killed, he continues to be responsible for material obligations and consequently he suffers the reactions of happiness and distress. Of course, Kamsa is preaching to Devaki that don't be foolish and think that your sons are killed by me. But at the same time, he did the act. Why did he kill? You can question, right? So he was not fighting on a battlefield and killing the enemy for the sake of dharma. That would have been a different thing. But here he is killing out of fear, thinking that he will be killed. That means he will get the reaction, right? So he continues to be responsible for material obligations and consequently he suffers the reactions of happiness and distress. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. By the grace of the Lord, Kamsa felt sincere regret for having unnecessarily persecuted such Vaishnavas as Devaki and Vasudev, and thus he came to the transcendental stage of knowledge. Because I am situated on the platform of knowledge, Kamsa said, understanding that I am not at all the killer of your sons, I have no responsibility for their death. As long as I thought that I would be killed by your son, I was in ignorance. But now I am free from this ignorance, which is due to bodily conception of life, as stated in Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter, text 17. Yasya nahankrito bhavo buddhir yasya na lipyate hatvapi sa imallokan nahanti na nibadhyate. One who is not motivated by false ego, na ahankrito, whose intelligence is not entangled, buddhir na lipyate. Though he kills men in this world, is not the slayer. So you are not motivated by false ego. That means you are out of bodily concept, number one. and whose intelligence is not entangled. Such a person, even if he kills, he is not the slayer, nor is he bound by his actions. According to this axiomatic truth, Kamsa pleaded that he was not responsible for having killed the sons of Devaki and Vasudev. Please try to excuse me for such false external activities, he said, and be pacified with this same knowledge. So, we are all familiar with this Jnana Marga. What happens is, first of all, everyone is karmi. They are doing karma. Karma means you are performing fruitive activity. You do some activity to get the result, and you will enjoy that result. Then when this karmi comes in contact with the jnani, then he will learn from the jnani that you are not this body, you are a spirit soul. The goal of life is to reach Param Tattvam. What's that Param Tattvam? Brahman. Brahman is the ultimate Param Tattvam. We should go and merge into that Brahman. That is the goal of life. So for that you should come out of the entanglement of karma. You should do Nishkam Karma Yoga. And by performing Nishkama Karma Yoga, what is Nishkama Karma Yoga? You will still continue doing your work, but you will not aspire for the result of that work. Just like you go to work, but you will not accept the salary. For example, I am saying, actually there also karma cannot be any karma. Whatever work you do is not karma, only that karma which is prescribed in the Shastras. That means Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra dharmas, Stri dharma. Whatever is enjoined in the scriptures, you carry that out, and who will decide what is your dharma? Based on Guna Karma Vibhagasha, the Guru will decide that this is your Varna, and then according to that you carry out your duties. By doing this duty without attachment to the result, what will happen? And that means when you're doing that activity, certainly pain and pleasure will come. Tolerating that. Tam stitikshasva bharata, Krishna says. By tolerating pleasures and pains that are coming, still you hold on to your dharma, and you give up the results, and also you don't consider yourself to be the doer of that activity. This is a practice. This is Nishkama Karma Yoga. It's not easy. When one and whatever result he gets, he is not accepting, means he's not just leaving them near the dumpster and going away. No. He offers all that result to Bhagavan, to Lord Vishnu. He has to offer it. If he does not offer it to the Lord, then it is not Nishkama Karma Yoga. You go and give it in some charitable trust. That is not Nishkama Karma Yoga. Nishkama Karma Yoga means you are actually offering it to Bhagavan. Giving some charity, that is Punya Karma, pious activity. Punya Karma keeps you in this world. You want liberation. You want your ignorance, which is the root cause, to be removed. Avidya to be removed. For that you have to offer it to Bhagavan, Vishnu Bhagavan. It's like that. You work. Sometimes some people work and then they give all the money, whatever they earn, to the temple, and they live in the temple. And they work also, and they give everything to the temple. This is like Nishkam Karma Yoga. Whatever you do, give everything to the Lord, offer it to the Lord. Right? That is called Nishkama Karma Yoga. What happens by this Nishkama Karma Yoga is your heart becomes purified, and you will come out of this bodily identification. You will not see yourself as this body anymore. You will see yourself as separate from this body. This body is separate. I am separate. I am a spirit soul. The spirit soul is eternal. Satchidananda Vigraha. This body is material. Now we are studying it theoretically. You will actually realize it by performing this Nishkama Karma Yoga. And when one perfects Nishkama Karma Yoga, then he actually gives up home, job and everything. He will go to the forest, and now he will start practicing Jnana Sadhanas. Jnana Sadhanas means, he'll take shelter of a guru and he'll continue. So that is the Jnana path. So for such a person, he has given up karma at that stage, isn't it? For him, there is no reaction. Ordinarily, if you're doing work, let's say you are a father, you have children, and if you don't take care of your children, you don't feed them, you don't give them clothes, you don't give them, education, so on and so forth, then you will get a sinful reaction for that, because you have to do your duty. But after you succeed in Nishkama Karma Yoga, you have left all karma, you won't get any reaction for that, because you are out of this bodily concept of life. At that time, whatever you do, the karma is not going to touch you because you're not doing any karma. There is no attachment to the result. You understand? So at that stage, there is no reaction to any activity. Even if you kill, right? Many times unknowingly, many insects are killed. Only for grihasthas it is required, prayashchitta, for all that. They have to do different types of yagyas to counteract that killing which is done unknowingly. You keep water in a water pot, and that under that pot so many insects get collected, and then they can get killed. When you're cooking in fire, some insects can get killed. When you're sweeping, insects can get killed. So many are getting killed, and you become responsible for all that killing even though you're doing it unknowingly. Yes. So yeah,
It's hard and hard.
yes, it's hard. Therefore you have to do yagya. What happens when you do yagya is all these are counteracted. So there are different types of 5 types of yagyas that these grihasthas have to do. But if you fully take shelter of the Sankirtan Yagya, which is the only Yagya in Kali Yuga, then you're not responsible. You don't have to do separate Yagyas, this Yagya, that. You don't have to do all these Yagyas. For us, whatever Yagyas we will do, all that is aligned with Sankirtan Yagya. You're not separately doing other Yagyas. You will do still those 5 Yagyas, but they are dovetailed with the Sankirtan Yagya. For example, you have to give, feed, right? I think Bhuta Yagya. You have to feed other living entities. How do devotees do that? So you cook prasadam, you cook bhoga and offer to the Lord, and then you invite anyone. Prabhupada also said that, right? After you finish cooking, then you go out on the street and you call out, is anyone hungry? Is anyone hungry? And then if anyone is hungry, you call them, you feed them. So devotees also do that. But what are you feeding them? You're feeding them Krishna prasadam, right? So this is aligned, this is connected with the Sankirtan Yagya. It is not separately you're doing, I have to become free from my reaction. That is not the idea. But nevertheless, because I have not become a pure devotee yet, I have to still carry out my dharmas. Grihasthas dharma, brahmachari dharma, sannyas. Everyone has to follow their dharmas. Okay? But once you have entered, succeeded in Nishkama Karma Yoga, then you're not liable, you're not punishable, you're not required. So that Jnana Marga here Kamsa is saying. Kamsa is saying, now all this philosophy I have told you, Bhagavad Gita philosophy, that you are not this body, and whatever is happening, it's because of their own reaction, right? These boys have suffered their own reaction, and spirit soul does not kill anyone, does not get killed. So now I have realized all this. I'm on the Jnani platform, so I have realized all this. Therefore, now I'm free from all. I'm not responsible for killing. That is applicable to somebody who has finished Nishkama Karma Yoga. Has Kamsa completed Nishkama Karma Yoga? We don't know. But here Srila Prabhupada is saying, but from actions we see again after going back what he will do, association, right? Once again he's associating with his wicked friends, we will see, and they will tell him go and kill all the he'll send all these asuras. After all this Bhagavad Gita philosophy, nobody can kill me and I don't kill anyone. Once again he does the same old thing. So from that we can understand that he didn't succeed in Nishkam Karma Yoga. But at least for the time being, sometimes we have that, right? For a moment we get that realization. So like that, here Srila Prabhupada is saying, Kamsa is feeling actually because of why? Goddess Durga's words, right? He got that. And also Prabhupada is saying, by the grace of the Lord, okay, by the grace of the Lord, Kamsa felt sincere regret for having unnecessarily persecuted. So association matters, big time, right? So because of the Lord's mercy, now he is sincerely regretting for unnecessarily persecuting such Vaishnavas as Devaki and Vasudev. So he came to the transcendental stage of knowledge. He has come to the stage of Jnana. So what is that? Because I am situated on the platform of knowledge, understanding that I am not the killer of your sons, now I have no responsibility for their death. I am not responsible, right? So you also be free from this, you also don't worry. Like this he's telling Vasudeva and Devaki. And Srila Prabhupada is saying that this is axiomatic truth, that this is from Bhagavad Gita 18:17. One who is not motivated by false ego, well, when he was killing, was he motivated or not? He was. At the time of killing, he was motivated by false ego. He was thinking, I am this body. But here the shloka is one who is not motivated by false ego, whose intelligence is not entangled, then even if he kills men in this world, he is not the slayer and is not bound by his actions. So that will be applicable to one who has succeeded in Nishkama Karma Yoga. Now let's read quickly Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. I'll let you go soon. I'm not reading Bhagavad Gita and Leela Amrita. 22. Okay. Yesterday also we didn't read. So I'll just read yesterday's. My dear sister Devaki, all good. Am I sharing? I'm not sharing, I think. No, the Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's. Okay, 21. My dear sister Devaki, all good fortune unto you. Everyone suffers and enjoys the results of his own work under the control of providence. Therefore, although your sons have unfortunately been killed by me, please do not lament for them. That was yesterday's verse. We didn't read Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary yesterday. Kamsa continues, the sons killed by me are sons from the external point of view due to bodily identification. They're Atmas, right? Therefore, do not grieve. I have only killed the bodies of your sons, so I should not be blamed. If you say, I do not have such knowledge of the soul, then still you should not grieve. So if Devaki is saying, but I don't understand this philosophy of soul and body, I just see that my sons were killed, still you should not grieve, Kamsa is saying. According to the view of the Karmavadis, fruitive workers, taking shelter of ignorance, all souls are forced to experience the results of their actions even though they do not desire it. So karma is action and reaction. So you get reaction. So you must have done something in the past, so you're getting this reaction. There also you should not grieve. And if you are in jnana, in knowledge, then you understand they are spirit souls. The spirit souls cannot be killed. Therefore, there also you should not grieve. In both cases, you should not grieve, Devaki, he's saying. Now, in today's verse, in the bodily conception of life, one remains in darkness without self-realization, thinking, I am being killed or I have killed my enemies. As long as a foolish person thus considers the self to be the killer or the killed, he continues to be responsible for material obligations and consequently he suffers the reactions of happiness and distress. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, from the viewpoint of a jnani, Kamsa tries to show. So see, he is trying to show, not that he actually became a jnani. Kamsa tries to show that he is not the killer of her sons. The ignorant see only the body and they do not see the soul. Aswadrik. Since I do not identify with the body, I incur no sin, nor get any bondage of karma for killing the children. That's the point. Kamsa is saying, I am a jnani. I don't see myself as, I don't see your boys, your sons, babies who were killed as bodies. Rather, I see them as souls. I am a soul. So being a jnani, I don't get any reaction for what I have done. And you should also become a jnani and you should also not feel sorry. Like this Kamsa is preaching to Devaki and Vasudev. We will stop there. Thank you all so much. I just have I'm running behind. That's why I had to end the class early today. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Samaveta Gaur Bhakta Vrind ki jai. Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you.